Hi, and welcome to CDFS 210. We're going to talk about transition to parenting today. We often think about becoming a parent as a deliberate and desired and joyful experience. That is, we believe people decide to become parents and are excited about being parents. And for many people, that is true, but not all. Pregnancies or even becoming a step parent are planned, and not everyone who is to become a parent is excited for the experience. Thus, I think a good place to start a discussion about the transition to parenthood is with the concept of intendedness and wantedness. Intendedness has to do with the timing of becoming a parent. And is this transition something that was planned for? Is it occurring when you want it? In the US, we have a stigma against unintended pregnancies. So when we ask a pregnant woman if their pregnancy was intentional, and the overwhelming majority will say it was. By the way, not a great question to ask. However, if you ask that same question about 9 months to a year after a child is born, many mothers will say that it was not intended. As long as the pregnancy occurs during a period of the life course when pregnancy is deemed normative or common and expected among one's age group, the degree of intendedness has much less impact on the transition to parenthood than does wantedness. Wantedness captures the degree to which individuals are ready to become parents and want to become parents. You can think about this as how excited one is to be a parent. Wantedness can have meaningful impacts on the transition to parenthood. When wantedness is low, the transition to parenthood and parenting are often more difficult, as you can imagine. The good thing is that the overwhelming majority of parents-to-be are excited to become parents and report a high degree of wantedness. It is important to note that intendedness and wantedness are not static concepts. They can change over the course of pregnancy and over the first few years of parenting. So it is possible to help parents who are not very excited, that is, lower levels of wantedness, to become happier and excited about being a parent. When we think about this slide, it's interesting to me that the US has one of the highest infant and maternal mortality rates in the world. When I tend to think about the United States, I think about the healthcare that we have. This is partially due, though, to how childbirth is handled. They try to speed up delivery. They try to use medical procedures, possibly, where other countries may not use the same things. Another area to keep in mind when talking about the transition to parenthood is just how stressful the time can be. That is not to say that new parents don't enjoy being a parent. Most do and report deriving lots of happiness. But parenting infants and children in general is hard. Infants in particular are fragile and limited abilities to communicate their needs with their caregivers. Holden, our textbook author, illustrates many of the challenges of parenting infants, noting quite correctly that infants cry a whole lot, like for real, a whole lot. This is because crying is the primary way infants communicate with us. They can't tell us, hey, I've got a dirty diaper. Hey, can we have some lunch? Hey, this outfit is really uncomfortable. So they have to cry to let us know. So they cry when they're hot. They cry when they're cold, tired, bored, scared, need to be changed, and sometimes just because. All the crying can really get to a parent. Again, it's not that they don't love their child, but caring for an infant is exhausting. Because, like I said, you don't know why the infant's crying. So it's not like you can just fix it, because sometimes you don't know what to fix. Then there's the added pressure that society puts on a parent. Sometimes reading the parenting advice books, blogs, and workshops are really methods to tell you that you're a bad parent. This social pressure can add added stress during the transition to parenting. There's lots of great tools out there for us to read and watch and learn about being a parent, but at the point that it undermines your well-being, then it becomes not a healthy option. We should think about how the transition of parenthood can affect well-being and relationships. Most of the research on these topics show that new parents, in particular mothers, experience declines in well-being and relationship satisfaction after a child is born. Not surprising when you consider the stress that new parents are enduring. Well-being and relationship satisfaction do rebound for most parents as they become more familiar with their child. For example, learning to distinguish between cries, and you do as a parent start to learn about the different cries that your child has and what helps soothe the child. Does the child like to be rocked? Does the child like to be held in a certain way when they feel a certain emotion? So you learn to adapt as a parent. This helps you establish new family routines. For some mothers, challenges with well-being can become postpartum depression. Like other types of depression, postpartum depression can be helped with a variety of treatments. But sometimes it's difficult to recognize what they're feeling as postpartum depression. Further, mental illness in general remains needlessly stigmatized in the US, which can help some mothers from seeking treatment. For example, after I had both of my children, I was asked, after I had my children, how are you feeling? Are you depressed? No. I answered no. And in reality, that wasn't true. Looking back, I was very sad. I had postpartum depression. And I can say that now, and I can say that with great pride in being able to share that because I've been able to think about how that impacted my life and then be able to help others as they had the same experiences and help them navigate it and be able to get help. So co-parenting, we've talked a little bit about this before, coordinating those childcare responsibilities. Co-parenting can be difficult because it can be supportive, where one parent agrees with the other parent, or it can be undermining. And so I say, no, you can't do that. My partner says, yes, you can. It can spill over into the other family subsystems, and it can also impact romantic and sexual components of the parental relationship. Supportive co-parenting means that you have to talk to your partner on a regular basis. You have to back each other up, and we have to coordinate caregiving, right? And sometimes those are really difficult. But when there is the idea that there's a team presented to the child, it makes it a lot easier. So step families add another layer of complexity to parenting. They are experiencing all of these things in a very quick and shortened time span. So step parenting, you have to navigate what is your role? What does that look like? Who are you in the relationship? And who are the others in the relationship? Stepmothering, oftentimes you have less contact with your stepchildren. In regards to assisted reproductive technology, this is a medical intervention to assist with reproduction. There are a variety of different reasons why families decide to go this route, but they can also provide some additional challenges: financial, stigma, and legal. Teen parenting is the last thing that we'll talk about this week. In the US, teen birth rates are 16.7 births per 1,000 women aged 14 to 19 years old. And then teen parenting adds additional challenges. There's the financial portion of it. What do they do about their education? Where do they live? How do they continue navigating their role as a teenager within a household? But then also, how do they navigate their role as a parent now? How do they develop the relationship between their partner, and what does that look like? Hope you have a great week.